So, just when we all thought it was safe to go to Ibadan, the Federal High Court in Abuja slams the brakes, saying, nope, not yet. The court ruled that the PDP didn't comply with legal requirements, including publishing a timetable and issuing a 21-day notice to the Electoral Commission, INEC. But there's more. The Oyo State High Court in Ibadan gives the green light, asking the PDP to go ahead, and they're all set to proceed with the convention in 3 days' time. However, the Nyesom Wike faction is having none of it, urging members to boycott the convention, citing another court order. It's like a never-ending game of convention ping-pong, isn't it? Will the PDP manage to get its act together, or will it be a convention that's more drama than substance, or none at all? Well, for more on this, I'm joined now from our studios in Lagos by a member of the PDP's Board of Trustees, Ejiofor, Onyia. Mr. Onyia, thank you very much indeed for joining us. Your members in the PDP don't shy away from picking a fight with each other, do they? Adamantly, vehemently, self-inflictedly causing harm to your own party, relentlessly, litigiously suing each other into tessellated bits. I mean, how is this one that's swirling around the National Convention playing out?
Well, good evening, Aniogolo. Good evening, Nigerians. Well, one thing is certain. PDP is going to the convention. As far as most of us know, there's only one PDP. The bickering within the system is based on, unfortunately, indiscipline. And I don't think it's time for us to begin to look at the issues as it is now. We are going to the convention, and we are predicating this on the fact that the Supreme Court has declared that issues of the party is not for the court to determine. The way the party is run is the party's prerogative. And based on that, every other thing that is going on is to be discountenanced, and we're going to the convention. The tenure of the present executive is ending, and therefore there is need for the party to have a new executive in place to put things right. So I don't know why people are afraid of convention. I don't know why they don't want a new set of executives to come into place. So all the issues that are going on are unfortunate, but PDP is going to convention. And after the convention, then PDP will settle down to do what is best for itself and for this nation.
So, just to be clear, Mr. Onyia, is the legal opinion or the legal advice to the PDP that the judiciary is overstepping its mark? Because, I mean, some argue that the courts are interfering with the party's internal affairs, while others say the courts are ensuring the rule of law.
But the Supreme Court, which is the highest body, the judicial body of the country, had made it clear that courts should not interfere in the internal affairs of the party. So what do you expect us to do? We are running the party the way the party is supposed to. It's a private organization. And therefore, the Supreme Court has asked courts to stay away, but people keep going back to court and bringing up all sorts of issues. It's unfortunate. But, I feel, for example, I feel bad for my friend that I respect a lot, and the former governor of Kebbi State, Sule Lamido. I feel bad that a man of his status, a founding father of this party, should take his own son to court. That doesn't show a good attitude at all for me. Because there's no way you can sue your own son. This is a party that you were part of the foundation. If there's an issue, you should come into the system and seek solution. And that's what most of us are doing. At our age now, we're not seeking for any position anymore. What we're trying to do is to stabilize PDP and make it to become the real opposition party in this country, and then to take back the power that we lost based on this sort of bickering that is unnecessary, most unnecessary bickering. What are we really looking for? The whole idea is that PDP is set up to give Nigeria good governance, and we have done that. Unfortunately, people didn't like the way we performed, and they coalesced to disrupt the system. We're trying to put it back together, and some people are still not comfortable with the way things are done. You can never have everything that you want in life. There must be compromises, and that is why in governance or in political association, you must concede sometimes and let things move. You can't continue to look at things from your own personal perspective, because the nation needs this, not you. So as far as I'm concerned, and as far as PDP is concerned, we're predicating our actions on the decision of the Supreme Court, and that is why we're going to Ibadan for a convention.
The fact, of course, is that there is this sudden flurry of court interventions, and whilst people wonder whether it's a genuine concern for due process or a power struggle within the party, let me ask you this. I mean, what are the options now for the PDP with regard to your convention?
The convention must hold.
In
People
3 days'
are coming
time?
to the convention. We're all going to the convention. We are going to the convention. I'm sure you'll be in Ibadan, Arise will be at Ibadan. We're going for convention. Remember when we're having the issue of who is the secretary or who is not the secretary? And there were court decisions, court cases from all corners, coming in and going out, until the Supreme Court ruled that the courts were overstepping their bound. They have no business in the internal affairs of the party. It's the same thing that is playing out again. And therefore, we should not listen to that. We should predicate our actions on the Supreme Court decision. Convention holds this weekend at Ibadan. We will elect the next set of executives, and then they will take over power and start doing what is right to resuscitate and bring back PDP to what it used to be. That is our mission.
Are there any efforts at all, Mr. Onyia, that are underway to diffuse tensions between the warring, polarizing factions, or are there simply no longer any open lines of communication between them?
No. Of course, the lines are open all the time. We have two committees working on reconciliation. With committees by BOT, and they have committee also set up by the Governors Forum. They're still working.
Yeah, but I don't mean to interrupt you. I don't mean to interrupt you, but I have to ask you, whatever happened to, well, you talked about two, whatever happened to that disciplinary committee headed by former Foreign Minister Tommy Kimi? I mean, what's the status of their report? Because it seems like it's an exceedingly long time coming, if ever.
Well, the issue, as we have said earlier, that there is time for everything. The disciplinary committee had done its job. The party felt that it was not the appropriate time to act on that report, because we were seeking to find a workable solution, some solution that will bring everybody back together without being punitive. But since this situation has continued, and the way things are, unfortunately, the tenure of this executive is almost over. So they have not been in a position to actually execute the decisions of that committee. As soon as we have the new executive in place, then the report of that committee will be brought to bear.
Yeah,
and then
well, we have to wonder.
That new executive will take action on this.
We have to wonder whether there's ever going to be a new executive, because, I mean, the question keeps being asked over and over, who's calling the shots in the PDP? Is it the party's leadership, the FCT minister Onyia, or external forces manipulating the situation?
I just told you we are going to convention at Ibadan. That convention will come up with a new set of executive. We are going to have a new set of executives sworn in. Remember that the convention is the highest body of the party. And any decisions taken at that convention is final. So we're going to convention and we will elect the new set of executives, because the tenure of the present executive is over. And when that executive comes on board, they will now implement the report of the disciplinary committee. And I can assure you that that report will be well implemented. Look, enough of impunity. Nobody owns this party. The party is owned by all of us. And nobody can dictate personal opinions or personal decisions or needs to override the decision of the people given the authority within the party to run the party. Irrespective of their age, once they're given the authority, those of us who are old must succumb to their authority and allow them to perform. We will advise them, but there's no reason for us to disrupt their activities. Therefore, I believe all we need to do is come to Ibadan, have a convention. If you have a candidate, present your candidate. Let's have a convention. Why are you shying away from convention? It's the right thing to do in a party, after which the new executive will do what is right. We're going to convention. That's all I can tell you. Very sure.
And what can you tell us, Mr. Onyia, about an alleged plan to suspend or expel the minister of the FCT, Onyia, from the PDP for anti-party activities? Because we've been hearing those reports all through the day. I hope you can hear me.
I'm hearing you very well.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, you looked a bit mystified there. I wasn't quite sure what was going on.
No. Well, look, I think we're jumping the gun here. I've not been in any discussion where a decision has been taken to expel anybody. The new executive will be the one to make recommendations based on the report of the disciplinary committee on what to do. Nobody's keeping anybody away from the party. When we get to that bridge, we will cross it. But this is not a time to begin to be punitive or point fingers and so forth. Like I said, the new executive, once they're in place, they will look at the situation on the ground, look at the disciplinary committee report, and execute them accordingly. So that will be their business, and we will all support them in whatever they decide to do at that time.
Mr. Onyia, as far back as I can remember, in the last couple of years, every single we've interviewed you a number of times. We've talked to Bode George. We've talked to a lot of people in your party, the people we like to refer to respectfully as the eternal optimists. But every time you express your optimism, you're undercut almost severely by an absolute torrent of negativity. And it raises the question about whether the PDP can ever put its house in order, or whether, in fact, it'll ever be allowed to put its house in order. Because now you've got the convention apparently delayed or even derailed. And the question must be whether the party's leaders can address the underlying issues or continue to brawl. I mean, despite the sort of positive notes that you're sounding here, there is tremendous pessimism about the PDP in the public's mind.
I think you're now dealing with the issue of perception.
Which is absolutely critical, isn't it?
As I said earlier, if you can... No, you're dealing with the issue of perception, and I can tell you this much. You see, we are not really... And you, the media, should also deal with the facts of the case. Where there is an indiscipline in a place, you should so address it. Or that someone is not doing what is right, you should also point it out. In the system we are today, in our environment as it is today, there is constituted authority. And when somebody is not flowing with the constituted authority and behaving in a manner that portrays impunity, the media should be able to discountenance that person.
Yeah, but that's the point, isn't it? I don't mean to interrupt you. That's the point, Mr. Onyia, that it is your party's responsibility to discipline people who are going off the right path of rectitude, and you're not doing that. I mean, the problems you have with people within your party have been dragging on for years, and you've failed to take any sort of disciplinary action. That's why people are wondering whether this is the end of the road for the PDP.
Well, it can never be the end of the road. Look, we have had experiences like this before. This is not the first time. There was a time that some governors and some top members of this party walked out on the party at a convention. If you remember that, they walked out on the party and even formed what they called New PDP. Did that destroy PDP finally? Not totally. It had its effect, but most of them came back again and become part of the party. So we're still going through this because the only reason PDP is suffering this situation is because people are afraid of what PDP represents. People are afraid of what PDP can do, what we have the ability and the capability to do, the followership that we enjoy that threatens certain people. That's all that they're doing this. If not for that, tell me, let's be realistic. Why is it that everything about what we do becomes news and people are looking for ways to disrupt the activities of PDP? How does going to convention disturb anybody? How? What are the issues? That is it the court that will now tell the party how to conduct its own primaries, how to do his convention? No, the party has privilege, has authority to change certain things at any time, to do what is right at any given time. But you must realize that the party is a private organization. And when he sees that some things don't fall within the purview of his ideology, he will have to make some changes within the party. It's not supposed to explain that to government or anybody else. No.
Right.
It is the people that will see what we're doing and say, yes, we're doing right or we're doing wrong. It's not for us to continue to seek approval from individuals on what the party should be doing. It is wrong.
The ineluctable conclusion.
The
ineluctable conclusion appears to be that you're doing wrong at the moment. And the question I have to ask you is what's the impact of all this on the 2027 elections, which is less than 2 years away? I mean, will the PDP's internal crisis affect its chances of scoring a hit in that election?
We're jumping the gun again. let us finish this convention so that the new executive will bring out a new plan that that the party will follow. Be patient. Party is still very much on the ground. The followership of PDP is still waiting. They're all waiting. And we have PDP at every ward of this country. The people, despite what the bickering in Abuja, the wards and the local governments are still waiting for the leadership, the new leadership to take place, and then things will fall into place. Let us be patient. We have not been in power for almost, well, I can say 12 years now, going to 16 if we don't win the next election. But PDP is set for 2027. Believe you me, we will score something that will shock this country.
Right, okay.
Don't worry about it.
We're almost out of time, and we appreciate the time you've taken to talk to us. We've got about a minute or so. So let me cut you some slack before we have to go. Is the PDP's crisis a blessing in disguise? Could this be an opportunity for the party to regroup and perhaps emerge stronger?
Definitely. This is what it is. And believe me, the way we have been treated also is stirring up some kind of reaction from the populace. People are beginning to ask the question, why are they doing this to PDP? So people are taking interest, and they're making us more popular without knowing it. Because they're saying, look, this is a party. Let the party do its thing. Why are you disturbing the party? That means there's something good about that party. That's why they're doing this to us. Definitely PDP will come back and come back stronger.
Okay.
And at the time the next election comes, let me not say more than that.
Right,
but
okay.
I believe we can do very well. Very well.
Well, before we go, I've got news for you. Most people believe you're doing it to yourself. It's a self-inflicted wound. But I shall leave it there. Ejiofor Onyia is a member of the PDP's Board of Trustees. He was talking to me from our studios in Lagos. Thank you very much indeed. Good to see you and good to talk with you.